Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Aligned as Fuck podcast. I am super excited because even before getting on this show, we were already getting into some rich conversation. I'm like, wait, we need to record this. So I am absolutely delighted and thrilled to introduce my guest to you. She and I have an energy that when we are together, it just holy shit activates, and it's juicy and it's delicious. And so before I tell you more about her, let me just welcome the brilliant, beautiful, and badass Ashley Connell to the podcast. Welcome to the show.
Candy, when I say I have been looking forward to this for so long, like I have been preparing in the best way. Like this, preparing for this conversation has been playful. So I just cannot wait. I cannot
Right.
wait.
Ooh, well, and I love because the table's reversed, right? Because you had me on your
Yeah.
podcast, which was just, oh my God, did we go into like some spicy conversation? And so I know, because like I said, I know how we play together. And so if you are just tuning in for the first time, let me just set the tone for you right now. This is our space to get raw, real, gritty. There is nothing off the table. And we do what I call rabbit hole diving. So we have no idea where our conversation's going to go. It will be pure magic. There will be some fuckery, and we will just allow all the things to happen. So buckle up, because I promise you, in knowing how Ashley and my energy works together, that who knows what's about to come through. So with that said, let me tell you about this amazing human that I get to be in space with on this show today. Ashley Connell is a matchmaker behind your momentum, turning visionary chaos into operational calm. Just let that sink in for a minute, because I know y'all know what it's like to be in all of that chaos and all of those ideas and all of that brilliance. And just imagine operational calm. Like my whole body just breathed listening to that. And
Right?
as founder of Prowess Project, I swear that really gets to the tongue. Oh, man. Ashley connects big idea leaders with powerhouse online business managers, women re entering the workforce with strategic chops of a COO and the execution power of a VA. Ooh, so good. A former tech marketer turned ops evangelist with features in Forbes, Austin Business Journal, and South by Southwest. Ashley built Prowess to solve two problems at once: scaling businesses that need operational leadership and brilliant women sidelined by rigid work models. We are already speaking the same language. Her proprietary algorithm, Think LinkedIn Meets Match.com, creates deeply intentional compatibility driven matches, and it shows. Prowess holds a 95% satisfaction rate. That's insane. A human design generator who is also a 6'2", so we're going to have a little fun with that too. With a gift of sparking momentum, Ashley believes magic happens when the right CEO meets the right OBM, because that's where everyone's in their zone of genius, the business scales, and humans thrive. I mean, come on, y'all. Come on. So Ashley, I'm curious how we got to start there, because this is a space that is unlike anything I've seen out there. And what you are doing is so the unicorn in, especially for business entrepreneurs. And for us, I think about even in the work that I do, and you and I've had conversations around this. How did you get here? How did you like this vision for this way to match make humans to create this space of just magic and brilliance and high performance? How did it come to be?
Gosh. Whew, long story. And if there's one word that prowess that really wraps up prowess, it is intentional. So
Mhm.
whatever we were going to build, there was going to be a reason behind it. So I say that, but the story begins when I was in tech marketing, looked up at all the leadership, they were all men. And I was like, what gives? Looked at all of the women who are like in my cohort at my level. And I was like, you going up for the next promotion? You going up, taking the next project? And they're like, Ashley, no, I'm a caregiver. I can't possibly work 50, 60 hours a week. So I was like, okay, that's weird. Well, I want to maybe have kids someday. Like, can I do both? Can I be a leader someday and also have children? Hopped onto Google, found the horrific Harvard Business Review statistic that 43% of educated professional women leave the workforce for caregiving. When they return after 3 years, they lose 37% of their compensation power forever. And they would return to the workforce. Sorry, 97% of them would return to the workforce if they had access to flexible jobs. And so that was the light bulb moment. So I was
Mhm.
like, hey, look, I'm going to solve my, at the time, future problem of how I was going to have kids in a career, and built Prowess Project so that women could become and have these fractional careers that are online business managers. And the reason why we chose online business managers is because of the women we were talking to who wanted to return to the workforce or wanted to own their own time and be impactful, they all had what we coined as a patchwork career-like background. So they had some sales, they had some ops, they had some bookkeeping, they had some marketing, they had some tech. And they looked and they're like, I'm so multidimensional, but how do I turn this into a career? And that was the light bulb moment of like, oh my gosh, these women are ops wizards.
Mhm.
They understand all of business. And there are so many visionary CEOs out there who need to be in their genius, not running their business.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of all came together.
Well, and first of all, I love that you saw a problem and found a solution for it. And I also think about and I know from my days in corporate and sort of the environment and the expectation that was in some of those environments, especially the heavy tech engineering, like the very male dominated spaces, was oftentimes that patchwork that you just talked about, that multidimensionality was done with purpose so that women wouldn't get so masterful in a position. And now can I just say how much I love that you took something that was an intentionality to hold
Yeah.
women back and turned it into a way to help women fucking shine.
I was going to say that, Candy. Fuck that. No, people do not have the power to build your career, to build what you're going to be. Take it from this, you're right, this way of repressing women and being like, no, 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 no. My Jill of all trades is something that is valuable, something that is worth a lot of money, and something that people need. And the people who need it are the people who are changing the world. And that's the matchmaking that we're doing here.
Well, and what's so great about that is I love the term Jill of all trades, right? Because I mean, as a Manny Jen, please, I embody that and I'm all over the place all over the time. And I think about especially entrepreneurs. I don't care what your design is, entrepreneurs are usually got their arms and their tentacles in multiple things that they don't always want to let go of the clean box that says, well, I'm going to hand over all sales, or I'm going to hand
Right.
over all marketing, or I'm going to hand over. I was just having a conversation with a client
Guilty.
yesterday who I'm going to go in and support on a different level because she's letting go of a team member. And she's like, Candy, you got some ops chops and some marketing. Can you help me streamline some systems so that then when I bring somebody, I'm like, yes, because right now I've got some bandwidth and it's a project that feels fun, that you fill the gaps. And still then what happens and what you've created, if I'm hearing this right, and I know this based on the conversations we've had, you're allowing a multidimensionality entrepreneur, business owner, revolutionary leader, then match with another
Yeah,
multi-dimensional ops
bingo.
person who fills the gaps.
Bingo. Puzzle pieces. That is exactly right. When we match, it is not hey, Candy, as the CEO of your business, you need someone who knows Kajabi, and Susie, the OBM, knows Kajabi. It's a match. Go. No, it is all about compatibility. It is all about work style. We are bringing in the feminine energy of what is it like to, what it does it feel like to work together? And we have systemized that and put that into an algorithm to match you. I do not think that work in recruiting and hiring should be so black and white when it comes to quote unquote hard or professional skills. It should be all about what it feels like to work with someone.
Oh my
And
God,
that's
I
what we're
love
going to do.
that because I will say my former assistant and I, we worked really well together and, it was just time to move into just some different spaces. And I remember, and so I laugh when you say Kajabi because I'm one of those that I actually am secretly a closeted little nerd and expert in Kajabi. And there are things I am not willing and I had to come to terms with. There are things that it actually is my joy space, like me dinking around on either Kajabi or Canva on a Saturday night watching a ball game is like my slow down space. And so at one point, because I started to do the shooting as a CEO, told my assistant, I said, you need to cut off my password for Canva. A week later, I was climbing off the walls and I'm like, you need to give me back my password to Canva. I don't know how to create unless I can create visuals. Like, I didn't realize it's like me being Italian and not being able to use my arms when I speak. I'm like, I don't know how to get these visions out of my head unless I can like rearrange shit and put things on a board. And so we learned that about each other, that she's like, that's not the space where I'm helping you the most. I'm actually creating more anxiety for you because I get there's also the space of delegation that says, oh, is it just you can't, you think you can do better? I'm like, no, you don't understand. I personally cannot see it until I start dinking around with colors and moving things. And once I do, then you can take it and improve it and make it better and like build things off of that. But I have to be the first one to create the thing, whether it's on my website or whether it's on a Canva, because I have such a crystal clear that it's very hard for me oftentimes to articulate it into language that translates into the vision I see.
Yes, and you are never, ever, ever, ever going to find the person who can take your draft and turn it into something fantastic based on their resume.
Oh, can we talk about that for a minute? I can remember being in corporate. Let's just go there for a minute. Because I think a lot of people spend so much time crafting the perfect resume when I'm like, you really need to be doing more of a pitch like you would for a PR and you're separating yourself out. Because I remember even in corporate when I ran my teams, I would march into HR's office and I'm like, I want all the resumes you threw in the trash. They're like, what? We have a process. I'm like, I don't care if someone's an
Don't
MBA.
care.
I don't care. I
Yes.
need to know that I can coach them to do the job I need done. And I guarantee your filters are not putting the right people in front of me. I need all the ones you threw in the trash. And they would look at me every time and be like, you're kidding. I'm like, no, I'm actually not.
No,
And sure
no.
enough, every time I would hire someone from the stack, that got tossed.
All that dumpster diving was well worth it, Candy.
Right. So then talk about that. Talk about your process a little bit because this is literally you are a freaking unicorn and you know you're a unicorn and you have this like magic. I think about when people, especially entrepreneurs, like I need a magic bullet. Like any other time I'd be like, look, there's no fuck. Well, actually, I wouldn't say that. There's two magic bullets. Your human design is a magic bullet. And
Yeah.
what Ashley has created in your OBM and this matchmaking process, magic bullet. And so talk about why that's a magic bullet.
Okay, first of all, I in no way can take credit for this. Leah Steinkirk, our COO and the first OBM and truly the inspiration for this business, deserves all of the credit. All of the credit. I am the idea person. I was like, hey, would it be possible to? And she took that and made it happen. So, first of all, thank you, thank you, thank you, Leah. When you listen to this, because I know that you have gone down, like, she is a fan girl of you, Candy. But anyway,
I
I
love you
digress.
too, Leah.
Um, so the way that it works is like we said, there's all of these women who have this patchwork background and want to have time for either kids, career, family, whatever, and make impact, but don't know how. So they enter our training program. So it is a 60-hour training program to be an online business manager and how to start your own business and get your own clients. As they are going through that training in our platform, we're gathering hundreds of data points on them. Not only like the actual skill of how to do the job of an online business manager, but like we were saying earlier, communication style, work style, teamwork, just all these different emotional intelligence indicators. We take all of that data and create a profile for them. Then on the other side, when a CEO comes to us and is like, I want to stay in my zone of genius, I want to be serving, not creating processes, not building out technology, not looking at all of my data, I need an OBM.
Mhm.
We do a deep dive on them. So we have a 45-minute conversation that we wrote these questions with a behavior scientist, and we're pulling that information out of them. We then put that into our matching algorithm, and within 4 days, hand the CEO three different online business manager candidates with information on why they're a fit, a compatibility match number. So they know, hey, this is 97% compatible, this is 83% compatible, and why. And then, of course, a resume and why we think they're a fit. Goal is to make it easier to match up people so that together they can make magic because they can't do it on their own.
When I think about, so there's two things that come to mind when you say that. One is the book that many people, especially if you have any kind of understanding of EOS, you've read the book Traction, which is about the visionary and the implementer, right? And we all need the integrator. We need, like, most people, and even if you are someone who has both sides of the brain clicking and you've got things in your design, this is things we talk about in human design. I have markers. I'm an engineer by background, yet let me tell you how much that, while I did that and painfully went through school, and even in my junior year was like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then was like, wait, I'm a woman doing this. I'm not quit, like all this stuff. That being said, there are aspects that I think very logically, that I think from a systems and operations standpoint, but just because I can do it and I can do it well doesn't mean it gives me juice. Because let me tell you, when people started learning that I could like program in Excel, it made me want to throw up, even though I could do it, right? Oh, spreadsheets make me nauseous, yet I
Same
can
thing.
program spreadsheets. It's gross. It's actually gross. And it's not my zone of genius. And so I think
Right.
about what you're doing, because there's a lot of, and we know this, I know this in the coaching that I do, and I'm sure that this is a conversation and this is some of the coaching you likely have to do for the CEOs that you are matching the OBMs with, is just because you're good at that doesn't mean that's your zone of genius. And you're holding yourself back if you think this is where you need to be playing.
1000%. And there is an assumption by these CEOs that if they don't like to do it, no one else will. I don't like accounting. I don't like Kajabi. So they assume that they are punishing someone,
Yep.
most of the time subconsciously, when they outsource that.
Yep.
When really, the people who are coming to us to be online business managers are like, ooh, girl, I am mean in those spreadsheets,
Right. I
you
love
know?
that. That's my joy, right? I remember my assistant who was great. He had these Coke bottle glasses and his dog's name was Pork Chop. And he was just
Yes.
an interesting character. But he came in my office one day when I was director at Northwestern Mutual. He comes in and he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm copying the notes off my board." He goes, "Let me rephrase that. Why are you doing what you're doing?" And I'm like, because it's my notes, it's beneath you. And he literally, this is why you hire people like this, who he looked at me and goes, "If it's beneath you, what is it you're not doing right now that you're doing my job?" I'm like, "I know, but this is Gruntworth Goose, my job. You're doing my job. And that means you're not doing." And I was like, damn, I hate when I hire people that like throw that back. But that's the magic, right? You need somebody who can help you see where
Yes.
you're getting in your own way,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And here is like some big sis Ashley truth talk on here. In order to make this work with anyone, to hire a true online business manager and make this work, all the CEOs who are listening to this, you have got to invite them into the entire business.
Yep.
Don't give them just a section.
Yep.
Don't tell them you want them to work on just X, Y, and Z. That's not this role.
Yeah.
And for this role to be successful and shortcut the decision making and make data-driven decisions and keep it so that you are focused on what you love doing the most, you gotta open the kimono.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Well, and I will tell you that's another reason why I love what you do because it's breaking down a paradigm of leadership. And this is obviously my whole stance, right? Around, oh, you gotta just, you like only parse out. I'm like, look,
No.
if you are pairing with people that are grown ass adults that take personal responsibility, lead themselves and hold themselves accountable, people do better when they have information to make decisions because you can't be the person who's making all the decisions because the biggest reason you're not in your zone of genius is because you're not seeing the forest for the trees and you're not seeing, you can't, when you, like I've said this a million times, I can read someone else's human design chart. You're a 6-2 generator. I can look at your chart and you and I have similar markings. I can in a minute see the path for you. But I can look at my chart and see the same damn things and like one, convince myself of why I don't need to look at it, or two, convince myself it means something else, or just be blind to it because I'm in the forest, shucking the wood that
Yes.
I can't see the damn forest for the dang tree I'm trying to cut down. You need,
Yes.
that's one of the biggest benefits I believe in what you've created is you're bringing someone in that's first of all coming from a different industry likely and so they're bringing a whole different perspective but they are going to see the shit that gets in your way and they're going to help you create efficiency and effectiveness in your systems and the way you're operating.
Yes. So I'm so glad you brought this up because I'm probably underplaying how much of a silver bullet an OBM can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because sure, they can do operations and sure, they can look at your financials. But what we hear most, the feedback that we get the most from the CEOs is, holy shit, being a CEO is lonely. And now I have an ops-minded thought partner who I can spar with, who can help me take my tiny, tiny idea and help me plan out the how in order to get there. Oh, and by the way, they're not just a consultant who's going to give you more work to do. They're going to actually go do the work.
Yeah. I mean, come on, that's magic. And I think about that was one of the things I loved. In fact, I kept telling her, I'm like, you're not we can't call you my VA. You're not my VA. You are my right hand because I also look, I'm a Manny Jen, and we've talked about this. And if you're a visionary, I don't even care what your type is in human design, especially if you've got any kind of manifesting energy or you've got big power, or you got visionary, you oftentimes have a lot of ideas and it's
Yes.
really hard and you're shooting them off and firing them off and you don't even know all of what you just said that when somebody can, and I mean, for me, it was, she would drop this stuff in a Trello board that like all of a sudden I'm like, did I say that? And I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Like that do that because I'm thinking it's one of the things, and you and I were talking about this because now I want to talk about bridging this because I want to talk about that there's that brilliance. So let's talk about it from the OBM standpoint that now you've got somebody that literally has this capacity to like take all the stuff and bring it together in a way that just lands, right?
Not only do they bring it together, but I think what can be even more important is they hold you and the rest of the team accountable to make it happen.
Yeah.
Ideas are great.
Yeah,
Ideas
right.
are a dime a dozen. You know what also are a dime a dozen? Plans.
Yep. Yeah. Which is why
Progress
I
is
keep
not.
saying we're going to shift out of thought leadership because I'm done with the talking about it. I want results oriented, transformational, take inspired action, get shit done, and get shit done that's aligned, right? So let's talk a
That's
little bit.
it.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, no, no. It's the get shit done of stuff that is in alignment with you because we talk about this all the time. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
You're in your flow.
Well, let's talk about that because there's two pieces I want to really hone in on, and it kind of goes to what we were talking about even before we started the show. One of them is around alignment. So let's talk about the intentionality with alignment. And I know you alluded to it in how you were talking about the matchmaking process and whatever, but really kind of talking about sort of that being a core pillar for you in how this comes together.
So the best way I can articulate this is the biggest compliment that I get. And when I get this, it makes every single hard part of being a CEO melt away. And it is, how did I get so lucky? How did
Mhm.
I get so lucky to find an online business manager who matches and meshes so well with me? How did I get so lucky? How did I get so lucky to get a CEO to find a client who appreciates me
Mm,
and who sees my genius that I couldn't see?
mm,
That that is what alignment means for us at Prowess Project.
yeah.
That is what we're trying to operationalize as much as we possibly can and then help scale. I heard this the other day, and I mean, small businesses are the fabric of America, and OBMs should power every one
Uh,
of those businesses.
yeah, 100%. 100%. Because we're also moving into this really powerful energy that says, we have sort of this tribe energy that's coming back. We have this energy of how do we create more connected, engaged,
Mm.
intentional, aligned work? Because again, to your point, what you said earlier, and I know this, I said this a few times already this year. I don't want to do this alone anymore. I want collaboration partners. And when I think about the way that you've designed the Prowess Project and the OBMs, that you're training and really handing them a toolkit to then become embodied in their own mastery.
Yes.
There is this ability to create new ways to collaborate. I really look at, while yes, you're working for someone, it's a collaboration. It's really this beautiful synergistic exchange that you both are learning and growing together from it, and all the parts. It's like the 1 + 1 is 20 now
Yes.
in turn, or 200 or 2000, right? Because it becomes exponential, the influence and the impact you can have.
It is wild when you find that person. It
Yeah.
is wild what you can achieve. And I don't just mean monetarily. I don't just mean like your revenue will skyrocket. I oftentimes mean things that are arguably more important.
Hmm.
2 week laptop free vacation. That was one of our clients, what one of our clients did. And she's like, Ashley, I've never done that before.
Yeah.
I went to Italy with my husband, did not take my laptop. My OBM ran my entire business and we made money.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that. It's me going on maternity leave and my the company is doing we had I think a record month in growth.
Yeah.
It's that. It's that when you are in alignment and you find that person where again, and I keep saying this, you both feel so lucky to have found each other because you're both so compatible
Hmm.
and you honor each other's gifts.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about.
Well, and I love the level of compatibility that you're evaluating, because I think about looking at different types in human design, and I'm gathering through some of the behavioral questions you have. Their energetic wiring comes out in this because you see that, right? And I think about a manifester who does really well in, man, they spark ideas, they initiate, and they should not be seeing things through. They're going to have a different need and requirement in an OBM than,
Yes.
say, someone like me who's a Manny Gen, who, by the way, is spinning 14 plates at one time, has 40, I think I counted today, 42 tabs open and 15 PDFs open on my computer. I need somebody that knows how to either understand my pace or can help manage the pieces and parts, because I'm like, I'll start a sentence and then I'm over here and then I'm over here and then I'm a tangent and then I'm like, oh, wait, back over here. That's a different energy than somebody that has more of a, I like to be in a cadence. I like a rhythm. I don't want to get pushed too hard. I think about a projector that might be an OBM that's like, look, I work really well in blasts and then I need some rest. And then like all of that, that ability to have flexibility and work, rest, and play best the way they do. The fact that you have that depth in your process is so critical.
And you said something that I want to hone in on. You said that they understand the way that I work. I think
Mm,
that is really, really important. One of the reasons why we decided to really focus on this unique type of role in an online business manager and try to attract a certain type of person is because an OBM needs to have insane emotional intelligence
mm,
and specifically be able to flex to different work styles. That is what is so, so, so important. And I'm actually curious what that would translate to in human design. And again, need to give more credit to Leah. She was like, how do we add human design into our matching
Well, it's so
algorithm?
funny that you say that because in the side of my brain, I'm like, we need to have a side conversation after this because I think about what you're assessing. How awesome would it be for them to also know their human design and get to understand each other's language? Because again, if a projector's hiring, if a
Yes.
Manny Gen's hiring a projector or vice versa, there's different ways to evoke that genius. And when you can see where circuitry and where energy connects, you're like, because my former VA and I did that as well. And we are like, magic together. We were like, oh, and here's where we're going to struggle because we're both going to get caught up in the spiral. To have that additional layer of insight could be wickedly
Yeah.
powerful, right? Like,
Absolutely.
insane.
I mean, we do that internally. When
Yeah,
someone applies for a job, they have to send us their human
yeah,
design.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we
Because it
just
makes a difference, right? When you
it does.
understand, like, it's because I think about both sides of the equation. You've got OBMs who oftentimes were in a space where they were put in a box. They had a lot of their identity stripped when they went to be caretakers. They were told they were
Yes.
just a stay-at-home mom, or they were just like
Yes.
all this shit that's like the not enough space that oftentimes they're
Yes.
struggling with. So then
Yeah.
there's the whole, wait a minute, none of that is, wait, I'm enough. And I have
Yeah.
all this to bring to the table. But then you've got the other side who's the CEO, and God forbid they're a manager with all the shit in my chart, where I just got told I was too much. And it's like, no,
Oh,
actually, that's your superpower. And so you can then allow people to stand in the fullness of what they bring to the table instead of this paradigm that keeps having them go, well, this is what a CEO looks like, and this is what a support looks like,
oh.
and these two shall be lined up this way. I mean, come on.
I love that. I never thought about it that way around the word of enough or too much. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is.
So now imagine you've got one side of the equation that likely, now I'm not saying that you won't have some OBMs that have been told they're too much
Sure.
and vice versa,
Yeah,
but
of course.
typically you're going to have people that are living over here, the visionary that have been told they're too much because they're revolutionaries, they're sparking,
Yep.
they're disrupting, they're tree shakers, they're catalysts, because that's who you and I call to us, right? That's who
Yep.
sees the value of an OBM. They're the revolutionary visionaries that are like, no, I am done with status quo. I'm here to blaze a new path. They've been told they're too much. And in many cases, they have shrunk down that magic.
Yes.
And then you've got an OBM who's been told, oh, you just play here. You be nice. You are not enough. You don't have enough credentials. You didn't do this. You did like all the limiting. Now, again, that puzzle piece, you take too much and not enough.
Yes.
And what does that come when you bring that together? It's like perfection. It's
Yes.
like magic that then the OBM has a new level of empowerment and embodiment and like just ownership. And the CEO goes, fuck,
Yes.
like just fuck. And that actually brings tears to my eyes because I can feel like, fuck.
It's it's so funny the way that you described that because that's another thing that we hear. We hear like the thought partner all the time to help me get through ideas, and then we hear the just pure relief.
Yeah, yeah,
And honestly, on both sides,
yeah, for sure.
it's not just a CEO thing. Like the OBM is like relief of like, wow, I found someone who appreciates me, which
Yeah.
is so fucked.
Yeah,
It's
right.
so
Well,
fucked.
to think about how much we've spent our lives not feeling seen or appreciated, which
Yes.
now I'm gonna throw the like third piece into the equation because I feel like there's actually more of a triangle going on, especially in light of the way technology and AI are coming to the table. What happens then when we throw AI into this mix?
Are you are you asking
Asking
me?
like that question when you think about, so you got CEOs. You and I were having this conversation and we were talking about there's another level of magic that comes to play, right? So what
Oh,
happens,
got
because
it.
I would gather that there's also when there's that fear mentality sometimes or that not enough, that immediately there's some fear because I know even visionaries are like, oh, now AI is doing my coaching for me. I'm like, you can look at it that way, or you might have an OB that's like, oh, now AI is going to take my job. Versus, I see it being a triangle of now you got a third player at the table.
100%. It is wild. how like, this is what we say all the time. Like AI is creating the new standard of OBM, where an OBM is literally going to be a it's almost like a, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a control center for the
Mhm.
online
Yep.
business manager. That's what AI can be now. And what we're seeing is that what an OBM could have done pre AI would have taken an OBM and like four different VAs. Now it's just the OBM and a couple tools.
Yeah.
And it's wild because that then gives the OBM all of this confidence because they can go produce all of these things that they weren't maybe 10 out of 10 knowing how to do in their previous life. So it's like giving them confidence that way. From a CEO standpoint, what we're finding, and I'm finding it for myself, is what AI is giving me is clarity.
Yes. Yes.
It's giving me clarity on what I should be doing, or not should be doing, could be doing if I was reaching my full potential, what I
Yeah.
am called to be doing, and helping me put words to it, and also helping me stay in my lane, which oftentimes is my zone of genius. So it's like focusing the CEO and helping the OBM branch out and do more.
Yeah.
It's
So let me ask you a direct question then for you. Because you have openness in your chart, right? In your head?
yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. And you're a generator. So this is what, because I have openness as a manager and same thing. And one of the things that I found as a visionary that AI has been masterful at, especially when it comes to then communicating and sharing with my team or with whoever's supporting me, is one, the clarity. Because when we have that openness in our head, it's like ideas that like galore and it's like all the balloons and all the shiny objects and shiny squirrel. And so when it's I can speak all the things I'm interested in, and AI has a way of bringing it all down and just dropping it into the lane. And you're like, that's it. And what I have found, not only do I feel seen in that, oh my God, I feel like someone knows how, someone even more than a person knows how to take my crazy and put it into a way that's like, holy shit, that's my vision. And what's the juicy part about it is it gives me something to respond to. So I have actually, when I see what chat will send back to me after I put everything in, and I'm like, tell me what this means. Give me the like context of what I'm playing. What is it you see me trying to convey? Like you can really train chat to do this. Chat then comes back and says, Candy bro, you are this, and this is what you're doing. I have wept. I have wept the last couple of weeks, especially as I'm launching and building out these containers that are a freaking leadership revolution on steroids. It's like
Yeah,
buckle up,
girl.
buttercup, right? Like I have sat and I had a friend that was with me when I read one of them, and she just looked at me. She was a former client of mine. She goes, everything you've done in your entire life has brought you to this point. She goes, Candy, that's it right there. And we just cried together. Like we cried because it was like this. Now I take that vision, I take that crystal clear, and I hand it to an OBM.
Off to the races. See you later. Wind blown back your hair. It's so true. It's like when you, because I've had a very similar experience, and when I read that from Chat GPT, and I can feel
Yep.
it's this emotional
Yep. It's
throughout
the
my entire
response.
body that I am ignited. That's what it feels like.
Yep.
I
Yep.
am ignited to go do this exact
Yep.
thing.
Yeah. Because it gives clarity to your sacral to ask
Yep.
the question. It says, is this it? And your sacral goes, fuck, yes,
Yes.
that's it.
Yes. And
That's
then
what
I'm
I've been
all
trying
in.
to say all along. That's it.
And I am all in and I can't stop.
Yep.
And I will be up all night long.
Yep.
And that's okay because I will wake up and not even need coffee because I will be so
Yep.
energized.
Yeah.
by what I was just working on.
But now you've got that for the CEO, and you do that for the
Yep.
same for an OBM to get clear, who also then feels more empowered to stand into more of that COO space, and you're not paying for a COO, which, by the way, too
Exactly.
many people get that way too soon in their business, thinking I need a chief operating officer. No, you need some systems and processes. And to streamline how you're bringing business and revenue, you are going to shoot yourself in the foot before you get moving, right? But now you've got someone who's elevating.
Yes.
AI is that third piece, right? I look at AI is not killing anyone's job. AI is telling us all to get the fuck out of what's holding you back and playing small. And by the way, it's pushing us into our zone of genius, whether we like it or not.
Is it whether we like it or not, or is it if we will let it?
Yes,
We're
I was
in
just going to say, I
our
don't know if
way
it's whether
there.
we like it or not. I was going to say if we're ready or not. I think
Oh,
it
okay.
it opens
Okay.
up sort of Pandora's
Yes.
box because it's one of those that I have found with some of my clients, and you can correct me if you're seeing something different, that when they do those exercises and AI gets that clarity and comes back and they're like, I'm like, you can't unsee it now. Like there's the rule that
Yep.
says God loves babies and fools, right? And the minute that you have access to information and have that breakthrough, all of a sudden you're like, that's the fuck, right?
Damn.
That's the
Yeah.
shit. I can't unsee the fact that my whole body just like ignited on that.
Yep. That's my next decade. So thank you,
Right. And so
ChatGPT.
that's why I said whether you like it or not, it's more like
Yeah.
whether you want to or not, because I do think we're in this critical time, and we were talking about even the energy right now, is there's such a brilliance of what's going on because there are things tapping on our soul that's trying to wake us up. And I believe AI is one of those things that for those that are choosing to see it's the ability of
Power.
leveraging it and get out of the fear space. Ooh, I think a lot of people want to stay in the fear space because on some level they know it's gonna bust open some doors that
Which
they've
is
been convincing themselves they can't go through.
That's exactly right. And I want this to be a huge reason why the, solopreneur gets super excited because it is leveling the playing field. I now have access to very similar tools that a Fortune 500
Yep,
company does.
yep, yep,
So I could will skyrocket,
yep.
speaking that into existence. Like Prowess will be the place where online business managers go to be trained, and every small business goes to find one. That
Ooh,
is where it will be. We are creating this ecosystem where all of the data is inside and helping you make better decisions and outcomes
yeah.
in this beautiful marriage of the CEO and the online business manager. That is what we are creating. And quite frankly, ChatGPT helped me come up
Yeah.
with that,
Well, I
of
love
course.
that because it's being created. It's an ecosystem that's not being created because we're moving out of a knowledge into
Yes.
a knowledge leadership. We're moving into
Yes.
wisdom, embodiment,
Yes.
and inspired action that leads to the right
Yes.
execution. And so it's there's to use your word from before, it's an intentionality. There is an
Yes.
intentionality that the thing is it's kind of like I'm like, look, human design is going to be mainstream here soon. It's already becoming mainstream. It's not about how much information you can spew. It's can you look at someone's chart and actually help them navigate what that means for them as they're experiencing challenges or as they're in the relationship dynamics. Because then AI is not doing that. There's a human element and there's a wisdom
Yes.
element that says, can I be present with you to like engage in here's the knowledge, but how do we bring that into something that's integrated and it's wisdom and it's moving the dial? That's the power of what you're creating. And that's so freaking awesome.
I'm excited about our side talk about how to add human design into
Because I did land. And because I know, first of all, I want you back. So please come back on the show. You and I,
when and where.
it doesn't even matter what the topic is. Let's just
Yep.
do what we do.
Please.
That being said, most people listening probably are like, ooh, I need an OBM. I need to step in. How do they start the process of that matchmaking? Or if there's someone who's like, look, I'm ready to re-enter and I do have those gifts, because there's both sides of that audience that's listening right now. How do people start this process with you?
Absolutely. So many of the women who come to us to be online business managers, and I say women, we're equal opportunist.
Sure.
Um, they are either the caregiver who's returning or the corporate runaway. The
Yeah.
people who are like, fuck this, this sucks. I have so much more to give, and I want to work on my own time and be impactful in all of those different things. So, yeah, hop over to prowessproject.com. And that's where all of our stuff is, whether you do want to be the online business manager or whether you are the CEO who knows that he or she have been ready to hire that right hand for so long and you've been putting it off for whatever reason, you will have a phone call with our team to dive into either what those reasons are or for you to get a better understanding of what it would feel like to have someone take that off your plate and not just take it off your plate, but then like add so much more, not to your plate, but like to the meal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Like there's so much more to what feels fulfilling, and so much
Yes,
more to
enrich
what
it.
feels like you're creating the meaningful impact that matters. And
Yes.
the way this all puts you in a position, and I've said this multiple times, it takes you from a place of success that drains you into
Yeah.
success that sustains you. And so creating that system, that ecosystem for yourself, this is you being able to create your own ecosystem of
Yes.
support and of impact. And so all of Ashley's information will be in the show notes, because I also would encourage you, while yes, there's a way to start this process, for those of you that are like, I want to know more about what it's like to have an OBM or the OBM world. Ashley also has a podcast that is really powerful and brings in some very, I don't care what side of that equation you're on, listening to that podcast. First of
Yeah.
all, check out my
So
episode, but I'm
I
just
know your
saying,
episode. Mwah,
but
chef's
there are
kiss.
some
So good.
really, really good strategies to help you get
Yes.
out of your own way in your business and step forward. If this is something that you're like, I think maybe I should be an OBM.
Yeah.
I think you get a lot of clarity listening to that. There's a lot of value on what Leah and Ashley have put together in that podcast.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that is OBM Opportunity. So that's a live show you can get on YouTube or
Yeah.
on any podcast. And
Brilliant,
then
brilliant show.
thank you, thank you. And then for the CEOs, we built a AI agent that will walk you through what it's like to have an online business manager, a day in the life, the ROI, what they would go do immediately. So that is whyhireanobm.com.
Whyhire.obm.com.
Whyhireanobm.com.
Oh, whyhireanobm.com. Gotcha. So, that being said, what is one thing, if you had one thing based on everything we just talked about, which was, whew, what's one thing you'd like to leave this audience with? As a way to close this out.
Man, find your person.
Find your
Fi-
person.
Find your person who's just going to make you truly sing in the business world because he or she is out there. And by trying to either do it by yourself or by trying to do it with people who aren't your true person, you are doing everyone else a disservice because you're not stepping into your power, and everyone needs to hear your power.
Yeah, I love that, because it really is. We think we're pouring into everyone else
Hmm.
when we need to pour back in so that we're full, because
Yeah.
it's so selfish not to share that gift, right? To not put yourself at the highest capacity to serve others.
Yes.
So I don't even have the words, but appreciate doesn't feel right. I admire, I do appreciate, I recognize and honor. There's the word I'm looking for. I honor the work that you're doing because it is so needed. And I think creating this way for revolutionary leaders to serve at higher levels, and for those who really are magical catalysts, sometimes just
Yes,
behind the scenes, to
that's the
shine
word.
their light so that they can be part of that mission and that vision. I just think it's beautiful. I just think it's beautiful. I think it's needed. I think we're moving in that direction more and more as we shift the new leadership paradigm. And I just cannot thank you and Leah so much for the work that you're doing in this space and for creating this. I hope all of you listening run to go check out resources that are available for you. Like I said, I don't think anybody in the entrepreneurial space or corporate in transition has a reason why they should not be exploring the opportunities here. And I just want to say thank you to my guest, Ashley, who is just, she's a light. She's just awesome. You see why I love her so much.
Ugh, no,
She's
Candy, thank
delicious.
you.
She's so awesome.
Thank you. This was so fun. I do gratitude every night. It really helps center me, and this is going to be the very top, top, top of the list.
Love
So
that. Well, I
grateful.
have so much gratitude and I'm just spilling over in spades. And so thank you again for being a guest. And for all of you for tuning in once again, thank you for joining us on the rabbit holes and wherever they go and being here on another adventure of the Aligned as Fuck podcast. If you have not subscribed and left a review, please do so. It allows us to get this message out to more people. Please go out, see all of the amazing things that Ashley and her team are doing, and just know I love you. This is all about you choosing to lead yourself first. And so, with that, we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you, everyone, for being here.